Mr. Chair, today's meeting is being recorded.
All right, good morning, everybody. It is 8:01. Welcome to our Coachella Valley Public Cemetery District meeting. Welcome to all of our guests this morning. Thank you for being here. Let's go ahead and do our call to order. Chair Rosales is here. Vice Chair Bossler.
Here.
Trustee Coronel. Here. Trustee Underwood. Here. Trustee Rios.
Here.
Good morning, Trustee Rios. Good to see you.
Good seeing you guys too. Missed you guys.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I did.
Well, we're gonna go have the meeting at your house if you didn't show up this time.
Keep going. I said you maybe you'll have to regroup.
That'll be fun. Let's go ahead and rise for a flag salute, please.
You want the corner?
Okay.
You can move over if you want to see it.
Would you,
Yes.
Welcome back. Trustee Rios, please lead us in the flag salute.
thank you. Ready?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll remain standing for a moment of silence, please. Thank you. Let's go ahead and get started. All right, public comments this morning. We have some this morning.
Mr. Chair, we did have one public comment that was received in writing. It's been supplied through your folder, so two. So we'll receive and file those.
Okay.
And then we also had some requests to speak,
Yes.
which the clerk can call up.
Yvonne?
Correct, and then just clarify, this is the kind of comment on non-agenda items, so if we have comments on agenda items, we'll take those comments.
It is non-agenda.
Oh, perfect, this is the right time. Sorry.
You want me to stand here?
Good morning, welcome.
Good morning, thank you. My name's Yvonne Gonzalez. I've been a resident of this valley my entire life. I know Mr. Rios very well. I grew up with him and his family. I've always been committed to the desert in this community. Over the last 30.5 years, my family has been going to the Coachella Valley Cemetery faithfully. We have seen and experienced so many changes with the cemetery during this time. In 1995, my sister lost her 14-year-old daughter in a car accident. For quite some time, she would frequent the cemetery late at night to lay at her daughter's grave. Since that time, the cemetery put up a gate that closed off the cemetery at dusk. While I understand and fully support that change, because there were people who were stealing regularly from my niece's grave, there have been many more changes. The rules of no easy up coverings, no food, no music, I understand some of that too, but as a public cemetery, there are some things that have made a huge impact on the residents of this desert and the community that supports the cemetery. For instance, the way your cemetery now fluctuates the mowing and disregarding of personal items. Case in point, Veterans Day. Your mowing or seeding cemetery schedule was apparently posted on Facebook to inform the public that their personal items had to be picked up or they would be thrown out. There has not ever been a time that the groundskeeping staff just threw things out right before or after a holiday. It was apparently posted again that way during New Year's. Not ever had this been done in the past. So for Veterans Day, our very personal items were thrown out. There was a line of people at the office, very disgruntled, very upset at the fact that their things were thrown out as well. There was no apology, just, well, give us a picture of your item and we'll see if it got thrown out. But we never got a call back, so we assumed ours got thrown out. Then for New Year's, it was the same situation, but due to the rain, groundskeeping staff did not mow. Nor did they throw out the things that were left there. The rest of us went out in the rain to pick up our personal items because we didn't want what we had out there thrown out. When we went back the next day, everything that had been left there, their trash, they left anyways. The answer to that was, well, we'll let the supervisor of the groundskeeping know that you have an issue. No call, no apology. Another issue is for headstones to be replaced. Oh, actually, let me go back. The headstones used to have concrete for the cylinder of the flowers. They have since stopped doing that. We have had issues now because we just have a hole in the ground with this little tin cylinder in there. And we've had twice those little pincher bugs nest in my mother's. Okay. The first time we reported it, they took care of it. The second time we reported it, we were told it was our responsibility to clean those pincher bugs out. Okay. The answer to that was, I said, why would I do that? I don't work for the cemetery. It's not my job to go and pull live bugs out of the ground. And she said that the grounds crew would not be doing it. I said, what about the fire ants? Because we've been attacked by fire ants numerous times. And we were told, well, you can't treat those because you'll kill the grass. But I'm supposed to pull live bugs out of the ground. She says, well, that's where they grow. I understand that. I totally understand that. But I said, the staff is who maintains the grounds. And when we report it, it should be treated and handled. It's not my job to do that. We lost our little brother in January of 2025. He was buried over our mother. So now we're going to replace the headstone to have them both on it. My sister had to go sign a waiver and pay a fee of $525. On that waiver, it said she had to sign stating that we would not hold the groundskeepers liable if they broke my mother's headstone that is currently there, because they asked us if we wanted it disposed of or did we want it. Well, of course we want it. We paid thousands of dollars for it. So, but we had to sign a waiver saying that we would not hold them liable if they broke it or damaged it. So my sister asked, can I be here when they take it out? And they said, no, you cannot. Well, why can't we be there? It's our property. We want to make sure it's not damaged. And we want to take possession of it. So I'm not understanding why, these are just like the examples of the disconnect and disregard that I feel that we're receiving from the staff. These headstones are terribly expensive. What happened, my feeling is, what has happened to the caring about the very public you service? Where is the empathy for the community? Why are we and the loved ones that we have lost so unimportant? This board meeting is yet another example of the lack of empathy and support to our community, because it's held at 8 a.m. on a Friday in Palm Desert. Why not at the cemetery at 5:30 so that the working community can come and express their concerns and dissatisfaction? I had to take a day off, rearrange my schedule around your guys' board. I had to get coverage at my job to make sure that I could be here. I have to speak on behalf of the community that I am part of. So I just want to know where the board stands on that. Lastly, I did want to know how to get elected onto the board, because I was told you have to be appointed by V. Manuel Perez. And if that is correct, I would like to know. Because for me personally, I would like to be on the board because I have a relationship with people at the cemetery. I don't mind getting a petition. I don't mind going and speaking to people. I just feel like there's just a disconnect between the board, the office, and the people that you service. If I go into the office, every time I've gone into the office, never have they actually been able to help me with an issue that I go in there. It's we'll let you know, we don't know, we'll tell the groundskeepers. I don't know if this is a new groundskeeper supervisor that you guys have, but he just doesn't seem to really care. We've picked up things like, because my mother and my niece are buried next to the wall, to that fence right there. There's trash there all the time. Gophers dig. We've seen headstones that have been covered for weeks at a time with mud. Where are the groundskeepers? Why aren't they treating that? So that's my whole speech. I just wanted to be heard. I don't know, if somebody can talk to me about some of these questions that I have. For instance, my biggest concern right now is them damaging the headstone that they're going to replace. I don't have a problem taking another day off and being there, but being told no for my property is not right. So I appreciate you guys hearing me out.
Thank you so much for being here. I can give you a couple of answers really fast, if it's
Sure.
okay with you.
Yeah.
First of all, thank you for taking the time to be here. I think that there's a little bit of lack of connection and, like you said, connectivity to the matter.
Mm-hmm.
Really quickly, like items that are mowing days and pickup days and all that, I don't believe it's just on Facebook. I also believe it's posted physically on the grounds.
Okay.
Also, as far as the headstones and you being there or not, there's a lot of liability in raising items that are heavy equipment and things of that nature. I'm not sure what Josh and staff can do to accommodate something like that. Removing headstones, it's not a daily thing. You know, it's a, you know, and first, I should have started by expressing my condolences on your recent losses, is what I
Thank
really
you.
should have done. And so I'm sure there's something there that can be done. As far as you taking possession of the headstone, please. I mean, those things are expensive. They're extremely sensitive and delicate. It's an emotional process. You should take it home if that's what you want. Many families don't, uh, you know, and few do. But I'm glad that you want to take it home because that's important. Being appointed on the board, you just have to go down to the supervisor's office.
Okay.
Go down there. There's no election process. I didn't sign up for this, trust me. You know, we're all different types of professions and scopes. Some are retired, some are actively working. I have a very serious work schedule as well. But we're here because we care. It's certainly not because of a check. So it's not because we don't have empathy for our community. It's actually because we do and we care about what's going on now and moving forward so that the cemetery can be kept in perpetual care for the future. A lot of the funding, remember the cemeteries right now exist based on funding that is being raised by capital from burial services and things of that nature, revenue being brought in, income, right? That pays the bills, it pays equipment, landscape, and all the things that it takes to keep them going. At some point in the future, the cemetery won't be here anymore as far as spaces to be sold, right? It's going to be sold out, just the way it works. One of our jobs is also to make sure that there's money in our endowment account for the future so that when there's no more spaces to be sold and no more revenue coming in, so we don't have enough money in the bank per se to keep the cemetery's care ongoing perpetually, which is the idea. So we do have a lot of roles and responsibilities in what we do. And it's because we care. Trust me, if I didn't care, I have a lot of stuff to do. I have 7 kids, I have 2 granddaughters, I have a couple of businesses, and I'd rather be golfing. But at the end of the day, it's because we care. So I don't want you to leave today with the idea that we're here just because we're, you know, making $100,000 a year and we just don't care. We're actually here because we care. It actually costs me to be here. But I'm here to listen. The whole board is here to listen to you. I want to thank you for taking time to be here today, for your comments, which we will take also under consideration. You can also reach out to trustees directly. There's emails you can reach out to. Don't wait. Don't let stuff brew up. If you see something that you want to address, just send an email. Say, hey, you know, Josh, hey, Ernesto.
Thank you.
So that we can get to these things a little bit sooner and they don't pile up on you emotionally as well.
Yeah.
The reason why the meeting is here in Palm Desert now instead of the cemetery district is because, you know, we serve this whole big broad area. And so because of that, you know, we had to centralize our offices more and separate the portion of the work and the management side of it. So we decided to take this office here, which is more centralized to the rest of the valley that we serve as well. It's not just, you know, our Coachella area. You know, I'm a resident of Coachella, so I mean, I'm used to going right down the street. But the reason why we moved here is because we serve a broader area. We also have to make sure that our imprint is here for future as well. So, but overall, I just want to say thank you for being here. We're here because we care. We do have empathy for what we do. Please, we're always available. Emails are probably the easiest,
I think
and we
it
can
would be
respond
good.
to you.
I think it would be good if perhaps your office staff was better, I'm not gonna say educated, but better versed into how to tell them to contact you guys to say that it's an open door to do that, you know, just saying, come to a board meeting. Well, it's not that easy to just come to a board meeting.
Mhm.
And I know that there's people out there that are very upset that feel like they don't have a voice.
Yeah.
And again, so that's why I came, because it's like I do have a voice and I'm not afraid to use it. You know, it's just, and I don't want to come off, you know, sounding rude or anything, because that's not my intention. My intention is there are certain things that I just don't feel like are my job. You know, I'm not, and I am a girl. I am a total girl. I am not going to pull bugs out of the ground. That is not my thing. And I don't feel, my sister did it this last time she was out there with her little bags, and I don't feel like we should do that. So those are the concerns that I have. And I really do appreciate the fact that you heard me out. And I do hope that, I wish that you guys could like make your appearance known to everybody. I wish they understood that they could come and speak.
Hmm.
I wish it was easier at a better time or because a lot of them are Eastern Valley residents. So I think that that makes a big difference too. Some of them are not English speaking, they get intimidated. So that's why I said, if I can be a voice for somebody, I'm going to be here. So like I said, I appreciate it, and I'm sure I will follow up with somebody.
Thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate your
Thank you.
being here.
Thank you.
Okay, take care. Have a good day.
You as well.
You're welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting too, if you want to.
And thank you guys for, thanks to your support team for showing up.
Of course, thank you.
All right, have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sounds good.
All right. Where are we, folks?
All other public comment is
Any other public comments here today? No?
for agenda items.
Only, yeah. Non-agenda items.
We got two anonymous public comments.
Yeah, normally we receive and file them.
All right, let's get to any additions to the agenda?
No additions, Mr. Chair.
And we have some action items this morning as well.
Yeah, we have two presentations. Our first presentation is an update, more of an update than a presentation, but because we've had a significant development in our road funding efforts, I invited Mr. Brody, who's part of our lobbying team, to come and give the board an update and answer any questions you may have about the road funding. Jason, can you hear us?
Good morning, Mr. General Manager. Yes, I can hear you.
If you could proceed with your update, please, on the road funding.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Chairman, trustees. Pleasure to be here this morning. About a week and a half ago, President Trump signed into law an appropriations bill under the Transportation, Housing, and Urban Development Appropriations Subcommittee. Within that subcommittee was $1 million line item for the Coachella Valley Cemetery District. This is after a very long process working with all of you all, and congratulations for all your leadership, trustees, on this. Josh has been just beyond helpful as well, and just wanted to come here today and let you know that the money has now been signed into law. It is official. Myself and Josh have been in touch with the Transportation, Housing, and Urban Development Committee in Washington, D.C. The money is going to be funneled through HUD, the Department of Housing and Urban Development. We've also reached out to them as well and asked a few questions on the process from here. They are working to find out some of the questions that we asked, which include whether we have to go to bid again and some of those other technicalities of receiving the funding now. This has been a long process, as you all know. I appreciate your patience during this time, but it is official. It is signed into law, and I can't thank you all enough. It's just been such an honor to work with you all on this. We, of course, will keep you updated. I know the general manager will keep you updated on the process now on actually getting that funding in your bank account. But the hard work is over, and now we can celebrate. And I just wanted to come here today and just let you know I'm happy to answer any questions about the process going through. There are some questions that Congressman Ruiz's office and ourselves do not have yet. We're working with other federal government entities to receive that information. So a little bit limited on the process from here, but I do know that federal officials are working to receive those answers, and we will get back to you on that as well. But with that, I just want to say congratulations once again, and happy to answer any questions.
I just want to say thank you on behalf of not only the board and the staff, who really does all the heavy lifting, our staff and general manager and all those that do the daily work. On behalf of our board and on behalf of our community, we thank you for your diligence, because what this does is allows us to keep our costs to the community at a reasonable level based on having to bring these costs even to a higher level if we didn't get this type of funding. So thank you, Jason, and thank all those involved. I want to thank the staff. the team, Josh, all you guys really do all this work. Well, thank you very much.
If I could just make a quick comment just for because it might have been mentioned, but I'm not sure if I heard it, just for the sake of our community. It is $1 million in funding that is being received from the federal government to cover the cost of our road repaving. We don't think it'll cover it in full, but it will cover a significant portion of it. I would say more than 2/3
Right.
of the total the price that we have to bear. So also too, I just wanted to say a quick thank you. I always try to give thanks where it's due. We're always, of course, thankful to Trustee Cornell for the funding that he helped to bring to us for our pump services and our irrigation services. When Trustee Underwood came to me at CSDA and said, I have these guys I want you to meet, I think there's some money they may be able to help us. I was thinking, oh boy, here we go again. But Trustee Underwood came through on this one. So thank you, Bruce. We wouldn't have made this connection without you, so I appreciate it. And Jason, thank you for you and your team's hard work. I know this was almost a 2-year odyssey, but you all stayed after it and we appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would just suggest too at this point, Mr. General Manager, I would suggest that the board send a thank you letter to Congressman Ruiz and probably a thank you letter also to Congressman Calvert, because he made sure, since Congressman Ruiz is in the minority here in Washington, D.C., Congressman Calvert made sure that amount did not get reduced dramatically as well. So we can talk offline about that, but I think it would be a good idea to send a thank you note on behalf of the board to the Congress members for their hard work on this as well.
And Jason, you can't see the gallery, but I think there's someone in here who can pass that along himself. Glenn Miller's here.
Glenn, thank you. And yes, Congressman Calvert played a big role in this, so we appreciate him as well, making sure that happens. So, and thank you to Glenn and the Calvert team.
Thanks, Jason.
Very cool.
Appreciate the updates.
All right, everyone. And I will add as well, we're not going to get too greedy here, but we are under the process to apply for these funds again. That's going to be happening very soon for other things, and I'm working with the general manager on seeing what might be out there. I will tell you that they do like to spread the wealth around a little bit, and it's not out of the question that we wouldn't receive funding again, but we'll take our victory lap on this for now, for sure, and we will continue to see any funding that's out there in Washington, D.C. and even in Sacramento. So happy to go down that path. And thank you to all. Thank you to Congressman Ruiz. Thank you to Congressman Calvert, and thank you to the board.
I would just like to say thank you to Jason and the whole team, to Josh and Carlos and, all the board members, because really without all of you allowing me to do what I do, which is like to ask questions and meet people.
Talk to people.
And talk to people. I love to talk to people. So I'm grateful for this victory for the community, because this part of we need this for our community. So thank you.
Thank you, Bruce.
Very cool.
Thank you, Jason.
Thanks, Jason.
Mr. Chair, our next presentation is from our investment team at Chandler Asset Management. Elaine, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Elaine.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me. My name is Elena Marie Sampson. As you all know, I can share my screen if it's permitted. It's not turned on, but I can.
I have to give you administrative rights. Give me 1 second. Sorry.
Great, thank you, Josh. And I'll be sharing one slide during the middle of the presentation that is not, the board does not have regarding an investment specifically on this really great news that the $1 million that you have received from the federal government. So just giving you all a heads up on that. So today I've been asked to provide the normal brief economic update as well as the portfolio review. And I am now sharing my screen.
Elena?
Yes.
I've made you host. Just do me a favor. Don't disconnect until we hand it back.
Yes. I will be very cautious with that. Okay, perfect. So thank you very much. And like I said, I'll keep this brief. I just want to make sure that everyone's aware that the key word with where we are today economically is a lot of uncertainty. Uncertainty with regards to what's happening with the Federal Reserve. I'm sure you have heard the news regarding the Department of Justice investigation of Jerome Powell related to the renovation of the Federal Reserve building. The committee at the federal level, specifically Senator Tillis, has stated that he wants to await that being resolved before the Senate takes up any nominations to replace Jerome Powell, which is scheduled for May. That's when his term ends as chairperson. The other major uncertainty is around the case of Trump versus Cook. She's another a Federal Reserve person, and that was heard last month by the Supreme Court. The market believes it's unlikely that she will be removed, but that is causing some uncertainty. And thirdly, we are still awaiting the Supreme Court outcome on whether the tariffs that we've all been hearing about for nearly a year, whether they will or will not be deemed legal. The big change I will note with regards to the market actions is that the market, instead of reacting very strongly to news, is now waiting for actual action before making big swings in the marketplace. So as I talked about uncertainty, unemployment continues to weaken. This is the slowest growth with regards to non-farm payrolls in when there has not been a recession, and this has been described as a no growth, no fire economy. Unemployment is at about 4.4%. We've seen an update to these numbers that are on the page. And the uncertainty that I'm speaking about here is while these headline numbers in January that just were released this week seemed positive, what we saw for all of 2025 in that same report, that there was a revision downward by about 400,000 jobs. And so what that tells us, along with some survey data coming in as much lower participation as normal, we're seeing a lot more revisions, and those revisions are downward revisions, demonstrating again lower employment. And this is important also from a job openings perspective, because what we're seeing in this space is that there are now less jobs than unemployed people. So whereas a few years ago we were talking about 2 open jobs for every 1 unemployed person, now we're seeing less jobs for those unemployed persons. Frankly, a jobless economic boom. From an inflation perspective, today we had a release of the CPI numbers. And again, headline inflation declined to 2.4%, heading in the right direction on lower shelter costs. That is certainly a relief, particularly in places like California. But I'll note that inflation has remained above the 2% target, and there have been moments of excitement about disinflation, meaning the slower rate of increases in services. The Federal Reserve has stated that they're looking at these tariffs that I spoke about a moment ago as a one-time shock, and they're very focused on making sure it continues as a one-time price level increase as opposed to ongoing price increases. Now, with the consumer, I'll again note that the headline numbers, the consumers continue to surprise to the upside on this chart that is not inflation adjusted. And that's very important because what we're actually seeing in practice is a K-shaped economy. And really understanding Coachella Valley, I think this is very key to understand the discrepancy. What we see is for higher wealth individuals, those who own stocks, those who own homes, they felt buoyed by the economy. With tax season underway and various impacts from the One Big Beautiful Bill, consumers, particularly those who itemize in places like California, will benefit from higher exemptions, which is expected to be yet another one-time positive for spending. Now, on the lower end, that downward facing portion of the K, I'll note that it isn't plummeting at this point. Wages are continuing to stay slightly ahead of inflation, but this isn't quite enough to offset those prior years of inflation. And frankly, higher costs, like a car costing a median of $50,000 at this point in the US, lower wage earners are having more hard times focusing more on non-discretionary spend than discretionary spend. So think of people spending money on clothes for Christmas as opposed to buying toys. So moving forward to the GDP slide on number 11, all of this headline numbers, though, is expected to translate to GDP growth being strong for the fourth quarter of 2025. The various Federal Reserve outlook numbers are showing anywhere between 2 and 4% growth on the quarter over quarter numbers that you'll see on this chart. So what this has meant for the Federal Reserve, they have continued to maintain their federal fund rates at 3.5 to 3.75%. There were two dissents that took place, two individuals who would have preferred to lower the rates by another 25 basis points. And they have noted that the economy is expanding at a solid pace, but again, the jobs have remained low and inflation remained elevated. And what this means for your portfolio with regards to the bond yields, on the backdrop of all of the uncertainty that I've mentioned, last year in 2025, there were 3 cuts. And that they chose to have no cuts in January, but there still is an anticipation of a cut in mid-year and potentially, according to the Federal Reserve's dot plot, one more cut later on this year. So that will have 2 impacts on bond prices as we're thinking about investing your portfolio, which will be important for the slide I'm about to show you. What that means is 2 positive things. As the lower side of the yield curve moves down, think of the 0 to 2-year portion of US Treasuries where we can invest. That means the value of the portfolio goes up. There's an inverse relationship between bond yields and bond prices. At the same time, what we're seeing is a steepening of the curve in the longer part of the curve, the 5, the 10, and so forth. And what that means is as we reinvest, we're seeing the yield stay a little bit higher than what was originally thought at the end of last year. And moreover, because our US government is now rated AA plus, and we see a bit more uncertainty in the marketplace, the market is pricing in a risk premium compared to other countries that are AAA. So this is just providing higher rates for us to reinvest, and those are benefits to the portfolio. So as I turn to the portfolio itself, again, because this money is in the public trust to serve the loved ones of the cemetery, we focus on the California Government Code, we focus on the Health and Safety Code and your investment policy, all pointing us to focus on the priorities of safety and liquidity. And we work with Josh and staff to make sure that those liquidity concerns are built into the maturity profiles. Each of the portfolios that you see in the packet starting on the 16, you can see are in compliance. There are some client directives that we have where we've been holding monies in a money market fund on the direction of staff for that road construction use and other capital projects. Now, I just want to show you what the total portfolio is so you have in mind what I'm referencing. I'm moving to slide 52. The total portfolio is 18.1 million. You can see that there was a slight decline in the total portfolio. There was 250,000 that was withdrawn in the district in November for a project, but you'll notice that the decline was only $60,000 in that total portfolio value. And that again is a demonstration of the strong and continuing earned income in your portfolio and the fact that the average purchase yield of all of the securities within your portfolio remaining above 4%. That's going to continue to benefit the district for years to come. Now, in the general fund is where we have the funds for the road construction project. And so now I'm going back to slide 19. There was 1.1 million set aside for the road construction project. So despite this set aside, we did continue to maintain the duration slightly longer than the benchmark, which is helping to support this purchase yield of your general fund at 4.09%. The market yield, although it did continue to come down, this is a value if we were to purchase the entire portfolio as of December 31st, this would be the yield. You can see that we continue to outpace the benchmark. And again, despite taking out $250,000, it all came out of the general fund. The market value of this portfolio only declined about 185,000. So this is where I'm going to show you investment options for what to do with the 1.1 million as we await the federal funding to come through, as discussed by Jason. We have two options that we'd like to present to the board for how to invest these funds for the short term, depending on whether the district wishes to prioritize yield or flexibility. In the first option, what you see is what we call a laddered portfolio strategy. Within June to November of this year, there's a few different maturity gaps. There's not natural maturities that are taking place in that time frame. And so what we could do is ladder out the portfolio so that there's maturities happening throughout that time in order to provide that liquidity for the district. Or we can do more of a bulleted strategy wherein we have a little bit more opportunity to focus on those yield levels in the curve that have a little bit more yield and have larger maturities taking place, while again, we're balancing that ongoing liquidity. Josh, anything that you would like to add here?
No, just that there are two sets of numbers that we have, correct, Elena? There's a 1.6 million that we have set aside for capital projects upcoming, and then there's a separate 1.1 million for roads. So it's two different pots, correct?
Correct. That is correct. The 1.6 is in the capital outlay, which is a separate fund that we're maintaining, and this 1.1 million is in the general fund for the road construction.
Yeah, so we'll have to probably retain a very small portion of the 1.1 because I don't anticipate that the federal funding will pay for the entirety of the road construction. Probably have to set aside about 300,000. We can augment that with the 1.6 as necessary. I think the remaining part we can be a little more aggressive about investing. Probably do not have to have it come mature for at least 1 or 2 years. I do think the practical impact of the $1 million in federal funding is that it's going to allow us to accelerate the construction of our administration building, because we can take that money, which is also part of our 10-year master plan, and we can apply it towards the administration building. Of course, we'll be after Jason to try to get funding for that as well. But I think we can safely invest the bulk of that 1.1 million in funds as long as they're not set to mature out farther than 2 years. That would be my only input, Elena.
So Josh, are we talking 2.8 million then?
Total for capital. So you have we have our 10-year projected capital expenses, which include development of the new cemetery and all the other things that go into that.
Okay.
A lot of the hardware on that side, the dump truck, the backhoe, that's already been realized.
Okay.
So we're in really good shape on the machinery side. What we're looking at now is the development of the new section, which under normal circumstances probably would only be 200,000-300,000, but because of the prelay of the vaults, that number is going to go up considerably. That's why you're seeing the higher 1.6 million. The 1.1 million that was set aside specifically for the roads, I think a significant amount of that we can reinvest and try to get more money back on.
But none of this frees up the money, the 1.1, 1.5 million that we wanted to use, well, at least two of us, to pay off the pension debt. That's something else.
So the way that our policy is currently written, we would like to target that using the interest generated from the endowment. So every year our endowment has been generating $150,000-$200,000.
Yeah.
And so at the end of the year, we bring that to the board and ask them, what would you like to do with that? Our recommendation last year was it be put there. I think we ended up deferring it over into capital. So it'll be brought back again in May. And again, we'll have that recommendation. Let's put that $200,000-$400,000, whatever it is, and use it to pay down our pension costs.
It's not too bad because we have no debt other than the pension debt.
Yeah, we're very fortunate as a district to not have bond debt and other issues like that.
Thank you.
So are they asking us to make a decision about this investment at this moment, or just?
Certainly to give us guidance on input.
Do we have this page, Elaine?
No, it's something I created late last night just to give the option. So apologies. I can send it over as soon as this call is over.
Okay.
I think if the board's okay with that, we'll target 1 to 2 year windows for that capital money, because right now we don't know exactly when we're going to proceed with the administration building. We haven't started the preliminary design on that, and it'll probably be a significant part of the May planning session as far as how we want to adjust the timing on that 10-year master plan. But for now, I would be comfortable investing that money in those 1 to 2 year windows if the board is also comfortable. We can maintain flexibility. Obviously, we're not building a building 6 months from now. But we can still take advantage of pretty decent returns. Right now, it's been mostly liquid where we're investing it at most 3 to 6 months at a time. If you stretch it out to a year, 2 years, you'll get better yields on those. Do you agree with that, Elena?
Yes, we'll want to think about it in the context of the total portfolio because there are maturities that are already taking place in that period. So we'll want to ladder it appropriately so that there's a target amount appropriate for the district.
So as far as timeline is concerned, then right. So we got the roads, and then we got the cemetery development,
The roads are 1A and the cemetery development are 1B.
and that's about a year and a half.
Yeah, so we've already started the initial design engineering section. So we've engaged with CV engineers. They've already been out, they've done their measurements, so they're going to produce that. My hope is to complete the construction of the new section by the end of 2027. Because right now we have enough plots to last us through end of 2028. So I don't want it to be too tight. So those are the horizons right now. And then in the May planning session, I'm hoping to really establish a horizon for the development of the new administration building, whatever that looks like. Because while we enjoy this building was always meant to be something of a temporary status while we address the administration building. So as a staff, developing firm timelines on when we want to get that built will help us plan not only the money required to maintain this building, but also how we want to invest our capital as well.
So we're not gonna have liquidity problems because we also have our
Yes. Which is why I'm comfortable investing that $700,000 to $800,000 back into our normal portfolios.
Do you see any other major infrastructure needs going forward for the cemetery? I'm actually thinking about all of the irrigation system and what I've been hearing about the irrigation system and the challenges with the irrigation system because the cemetery is almost 100 years old, and some of that irrigation system, I don't know how old it is, but just like a house, when it's old, you got to think about the infrastructure at some point.
So that's a big question, but I'll try to boil it down as much as I can. So there's two sort of optional remediation considerations the board may want to take when they start looking down the road. Yes, our irrigation infrastructure is old. We tend to replace it as we go. We could take a more proactive approach and sort of tear it out of the ground and replace it. I actually don't think our irrigation issues have as much to do with the piping as much as it does the management of the pump and the pressure release valves. I don't think our irrigation system is managed properly right now. It's my opinion. I think we pop lines because we don't have pressure release valves and because our pump isn't operating the way that it's. That's a problem that I need to remedy. And I've been looking at some solutions to it. In fact, I just reached out this week to a pump management company. So there's that piece of it. The second sort of alternative remediation is what we want to do with grounds management. We have sand drift that has not been managed through the years. And it's created a situation where we have headstones that are 5 to 6 inches lower. But what happens is as sand builds up over time, the headstones get placed at different levels. And so to come back and mitigate that is a challenge, to say the least, but it's something we need to do. So those are two components. To switch back over to your irrigation question, the biggest challenge that we're going to have on the irrigation side of it is I don't think it'll be through the next round of development, but the round after that, we're going to have to eventually expand our retention pond. Because during the summer, it's getting low. It can handle another section. But I think if you add another section on top of that, that pond's going to have to be made larger. And the board had expressed the wish at some point, because we're going to have to expand it, to convert it to a land feature that can be part of the aesthetics of the cemetery. I don't think that'll be with the next round, but I would say you're probably going to be looking at retention pond expansion 2030. when we go to start looking at the next build out of the section, somewhere 2030, 2035. It's probably either on the edge of our 10-year plan or just right after that, right after it ends, somewhere in that frame.
So one other thought, we got the money for the roads. Is there anything that we should do proactively to, so that we don't have to dig across the road or, dig up the road? Because a lot of times, you see public projects where they build a road and then they have to dig it up later because they hadn't thought about something going down the road. And
Gentlemen, real quick, I think we should let Elaine finish her
Okay.
presentation.
I think we're
Sorry.
offset.
Thank you. We can talk about this later.
Okay.
It's a great conversation.
We got sidetracked. Go ahead.
That's quite all right. I was actually taking notes so that I can make sure that we're investing appropriately. So on that point, we are on the general fund. I will send the slide that I had, but Josh, I'm hearing your perspective that we target the 1 to 2 year window, really taking advantage of the higher yields, given the steepening of the yield curve. So in terms of what we're doing with the investment performance, overall, we continue to outperform the benchmark across all of the periods. You can see at the 12-month mark for calendar year 2025, 5.5% versus the benchmark of 5.09%. And then out the curve, we continue to outperform since inception, 3.70 versus 3.19. We heard you spoke about the endowment fund. This is managed very similar to the general fund in terms of the overall performance. It does not grow as dramatically as the interest, as Josh mentioned, is transferred to the endowment interest account, but it does grow by periodic investments by the district directly into the fund. The endowment interest fund, which will be spoken about at the May meeting, it's currently at $214,000. This is the interest generated out of the endowment fund. It is invested in a very short-term strategy. It's showing zero. It's basically was in the money market fund and has now been invested out through May. And we are keeping it very short so that we are able to manage to your annual drawdown, potential annual drawdown that's in May. And then the capital outlay account. Here you see it's 2.9 million. As was said, 1.6 of this particular account has been left as liquid as possible as directed. This has meant we are keeping it in again in the money market account, and it's for capital budget being in alignment with the land infrastructure development for the new section, as well as some of your other construction. I will note that this strategy does allow you to invest in securities out to as far as 10 years, but the majority of the funds are presently front loaded in the plan, and it's really just client directed based on your various asset and liability needs on the timing of your various projects with your administration building and what have you. So that's the rest of the portfolio. Just wanted to give you a sense of what those balances look like across the total 4 accounts. And I'll stop there. And I will not drop off, Josh.
I'll take it back.
Thank you so much, Elena, for your presentation. It's always really, really good. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Okay, you're good. Thank you, Elena.
Thank you. Has it been taken back?
Yep, we got it.
Okay, perfect.
All right, so let's get back to our consent calendar. Can I get some action on that, please?
Move approval, but just question real quick, Sherry, the report you sent us, is that 2.6? I mean,
No, I think it's item 3.
okay, then
Three.
move approvals percent.
Later.
Thank you.
Can I get a second on that?
second.
And compliments to Sherry again on great minutes. Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Let's get to the action items, 3.1.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Item 3.1 is the award of the landscape contract. So the board may recall that we spoke about this extensively at the last meeting. The direction that we received from the board was to go back and attempt to negotiate a more favorable rate in an effort to possibly retain the current landscape company that we have. We did engage with Southwest Landscape on a revised rate. We were able to come to agreement, which significantly reduced the initial rate that was handed over. That is, the new rate is all detailed within the report. So with that, because we've spoke so extensively about this already, I'll end my report there, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. I think we do have some public comments on this one too, Mr. Chair.
Very cool. Can we get to those comments now? Anybody?
Sherry, you want to call them up?
Sorry,
Sherry will call you up. She'll call you up.
Shannon. Did you want to speak?
No, not yet. Thank you.
Okay, I had Jonathan as well.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning, John.
First of all, I'd like to congratulate you all on the funding that you recently received. That's exciting news for you and the community as well. I did want to briefly introduce my team since I did bring many and took a lot of the seats. You guys remember Quentin, who's my business developer here in the Valley. I also brought Sergio, who is our regional vice president of sales. So he facilitates Southern California, a little bit of Arizona. I brought Jeff Morris, who is part of my team. If we do receive the contract, he would be your account manager. So he would be the one who is directly reporting with Josh and the team to make sure everything goes well. Born and raised here in the Coachella Valley, knows the community very well, and would love to be part of this team. And then finally, but not least, I have Shannon Speratos, who is the executive vice president for the Western region. I report directly to him, and he is here to assist and answer any questions if you guys might have on our experience, since that was brought up last time. So with that being said, I did want to summarize a little bit of kind of what happened last month, since it's been a few weeks. The RFP was sent out, and we were fortunate to receive the highest score. That was due to our experience here in the Valley, our experience with cemeteries, and our attention to detail to make sure we put an RFP, which would be translated onto what we do on the field as well. So I did want to make sure that was noted. I feel, after digesting the last meeting, there was kind of two floating comments, which I just mentioned, which is our experience right in the Coachella Valley. We've been landscaping here since 1982, right? So Conserve, previously Sierra, we've been here for a long time. We know the weather, we know the turf, we know everything to do with it. Additionally, with our parent company, Sperber, formerly Valley Crest, we have experience with cemeteries, not only handling one, but handling dozens at a time. The other question that was brought up was, how can we make sure that there's no dip within the transition, which is an extremely valid question. And that would be with a few things, right? That would be with upon receiving on the contract, make sure that our crews in ground do cross training with the existing cemeteries that we do. So before they even step foot on your property, they would be doing cross training and working in other cemeteries to make sure they're already there by the time they get there. Second would be sequencing, which is something that Conserve Land Care excels, is making sure that our production rates are met. So if we know we're supposed to edge a marker at a certain speed, and we're supposed to be here by 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. and lunch, etc., we already have that set, and that's how we can validate what our number is, and we're in full support and agreement of what our number was, even though it was less than the incumbent. And the final thing is, because we're going to be mowing in one day and edging every other week, but still all in one day instead of throughout the whole week, is have a strong presence of management there in the property to make sure that those goals are met, both in the quality side and the production side. So, I would like to open it up to trustees if you guys do have additional questions as far as what we do on the production side, or our history, or whatever it might be. But
So this section is just public comment. The board will
Right.
retain the right to ask questions later if they so choose.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jonathan. Thank you.
Sure.
Jason?
I want to apologize to everybody. I'm trying to make this go to vibrate, but I have no idea how to do it. I am listening, okay, so that's why I'm clicking and clicking. But
We will cut your hand off later.
pressing do not disturb. But it's
Good morning, Honorable Chair and Trustees. Jason Jackson, Southwest Landscape. From the last meeting, we did get together. Josh and I had some good conversations regarding how we could bring down our initial pricing. Our initial pricing was based on extra personnel to facilitate some of the extra needs that were put into the RFP. But during our conversation, we've come to some consensus on some things that we can do as far as, for instance, in the summertime, production goes down with everybody, right? It's 120 degrees. But with some changes in how we're going to move forward, we've talked about starting earlier. There's it's not like an HOA where you're kind of regulated to start at 6 or 7. We can actually start at 4 if we wanted to get better production during the summer months. So we feel like we can do all the things that were requested in the RFP. We're going to be mowing on 1 day. The edging will be on a 2-week rotation as requested in the RFP. And so basically what we did was we modified how we're going to do all the things that need to be done with the help of Josh, and we've basically come forward with a 5% increase, which would be very typical of a normal requested increase. The other thing that we did was in talking with Josh to help as far as budgetary ways, we are good with the 5%. We've actually entered into that for all the years, so for budget reasons, makes it much easier for you guys. Makes it much easier for myself and Josh, where we're not having to beat each other up every 12 months on pricing and requests. But I think we're set to do this. We've got the experience. I think comments that were made at the last board meeting were that none of you guys have been getting beat up over the quality. Okay. I think the quality shows. I was just on property last week, and I mean, I don't know that I've seen the cemetery look this good in years. And I think Bruce and Ernesto, you guys both made comments about how you're not getting the public calling you guys and beating you guys up, and I'm sure Judy, you were getting them too. So I think that we're that proven commodity that we're here. We know what we're doing. We've got everything kind of locked down. And we're just requesting the trustees look at this as just a simple 5% increase request for budgetary reasons. I'll be here for any questions if you have any. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason.
Perfect. Shannon?
Thank you very much. I appreciate the board opening up, and my comments will be brief. And thanks, Jonathan and team, for all being here to support. As stated, my name is Shannon Sprados. I am the executive vice president for the holding company, but I'm also an owner. And so I came because I wanted to demonstrate our willingness and our investment in helping this board look long term. And I listened to the comments. I listened to some of the comments from the 2 women that were in here earlier this morning expressing their feelings about how this cemetery district impacts their lives and personal issues, and not issues, excuse me, the personal connection they have with cemetery. And over the last 20 years, I've been in this industry for better than 30, and over the last 20 years, heavily invested into a lot of the cemeteries. We do a great amount of work nationally with SCI, and so we have experience in cemeteries all over the country, but also locally, and everything from high end, like the one in Westwood, where you have a lot of famous movie stars and Marilyn Monroe, and the public come there to visit the grave sites of these famous people. And also some of the smaller ones like Joshua, which is way up in the Lancaster Palmdale area, which is a very tiny cemetery, and all have different needs. And over the years, coming to understand that the collaboration between our industry, so what we do in the landscape business, and helping the cemeteries and cemetery districts not only attract, because I did hear earlier that this is a funding is coming from attracting people and having them do burial services. So Yelp is a big deal for cemeteries. You can get bad reviews and people will shy away. So understanding our relationship and understanding our commitment and how we can support the district in attracting those folks and being sensitive to the personal property and being sensitive to the some of those nuances. I just wanted to make sure I got a chance to state that you have my commitment as an owner. You have a commitment of our team that all showed up here this morning to demonstrate our willingness to back up what we said when we answered the RFP. And we definitely would be here for any questions. And going long term, and I heard a couple of things. There are some things that we could be helpful with. We have a very large construction company that does. And nationally, we've done golf courses. We've done currently we're redoing an irrigation system in Altadena that was destroyed by the fires last year. And so we have the wherewithal and the capacity to partner with the district over the next decade to assist in everything from the pumps that Josh talked about all the way through helping to revitalize or renovate the existing irrigation system so it's modernized for the next 50 years. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Sean. Thank you.
That's all the public comment.
That's it?
Yeah.
Okay. So then we need some action then on 3.1. So based on the requests that we made last time to go back to the current vendor and renegotiate that contract, I'm hearing that the staff recommendation is to retain Southwest.
Yeah, so the recommendation, I'll just read it. As directed, staff has negotiated down the original proposal from Southwest Landscape and reached a new proposed monthly price of $35,172.90. The previous proposal was $45,389. If it is the wish of the board to maintain the current provider of service for factors including continuity of service and the best interest of the district, the board may reject all original proposals received from the RFP issued on November 18, 2025, and direct the general manager to enter into an agreement with Southwest Landscape per the terms proposed in Exhibit C.
Would the terms be still month to month?
The terms of the contract, I believe it's a 3-year agreement with an additional, but the board, the way that the contract is written, the district has the right to terminate the agreement at any time with 30 days notice.
Got it. Okay. Call for a vote then?
I just want to comment that I'm very impressed with Conserve. Thank you all very much. And this would be so much easier if you all would just merge your companies.
So Josh, what's your actual recommendation?
Read it.
Well, I know what you read, but what's your actual recommendation?
So the board,
Because the board has discretion, so that's what the recommendation says.
correct, and the board exercised that discretion at last month's meeting.
So can you tell us what your recommendation was last meeting then?
My recommendation last meeting, the result of the RFP process was that Conserve Land Care won the RFP, and it was a recommendation of staff at that time that we engage with them. So from a staff, let me step back a second. From a staff perspective, as all of you know, we're governed by policy. Part of our policy that we're governed by is the purchasing and contract policy that was adopted by the board. That purchasing and contract policy prescribes fairly strict parameters around how the district is to go about soliciting bids and selecting who is chosen. The RFP process is designed to make it a fair fill for all involved. It's also designed to make sure that no type of favoritism or outside factors enter into the process itself. So as directed through our process, we conducted our RFP. The RFP was weighted based on quality of approach, references and recommendations, and also the overall price. I think as all of you know, and I think as Mr. Jackson would be the first to probably acknowledge, the RFP that was received by Southwest initially was not great. It wasn't responsive. Part of that was a misunderstanding. And the RFP response received by Conserve was very good. It scored highly on all of them. So our original recommendation was that we go with Conserve because we're bound by the policy and the process. Last meeting, the board expressed apprehension about changing landscapes because we've had challenges and issues in the past. That is a very legitimate concern. Maintaining continuity of service is a very legitimate concern. And so if that becomes the predominant factors that the board wants to base its decision on, they have every right to do so. So under those instructions, we went back and negotiated what I feel is the best rate possible with Southwest. We were able to reach agreement on all the aspects of the RFP. I feel comfortable that they'll move forward at the price. At this point, because of the way the process has gone, this is entirely a board decision. My goal is to give you the best information that I can, and I feel like we've done that. We've given you all the information that we possibly can so that you can make an informed decision.
So if the board exercises its discretion to retain the current vendor, would it be advancing and supporting the wishes of staff?
Yes, we can work with the current vendor. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And Carlos, is this a legal question or is this a discretionary question of the board?
Yeah, you would have to reject, since you went to an RFP process, you would have to first reject reject our proposals of the RFP. And under your procurement policy, it does provide for an exception to your procurement policy where in the best interest of the district, you could engage with your current service provider. So that also is in the policy. It does establish a process, but it does have an exception. However, since we have gone to the process, we would have first reject the bids.
So should have we done that last time?
The board wanted to continue the discussion.
Right. My concern is about the whole process because, you know, even with getting the money from the federal government, we went through a process and we just stayed with the process to get that money. And for me, my concern is that we're taking the process that we did and just saying, okay, we're not concerned about that process anymore. We just threw it out. And my real concern is that we're maybe being selective in saying, okay, this group gets to get another shot at it and nobody else does. That's my thinking. And again, I don't really know enough about landscape and irrigation but at the last meeting, when you look at the process, to me, we should have followed the process and followed staff's recommendation. Especially when you look, I mean, I know there's a huge difference in the money, and there's also his concern about, you know, what's going to happen with the actual looking of the cemetery. What's going to look like this next year, these next 2 years. I think there's several factors that are going to affect that from what I've learned since. And one is, you know, the whole irrigation system and the fertilizing system going through the irrigation system and how that might affect how the place is mowed. I'm very concerned about the process, honestly, and I don't know if we should address that again, because to me, the last meeting was just a jumble, if you will. And I'm just concerned about the process, honestly.
May I, Mr. Chair?
Sure, please.
I'm going to give you a statement that is shocking. Democracy is messy.
Right.
It is the job of the staff to execute policies and procedures as prescribed. It has always been the job of the board for a high-level strategic decision.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that what we're seeing with this landscape is going beyond the nitty-gritty of what the process calls for, and it's really more of a strategic. What I heard the board express at the last meeting was concerns about strategic direction, challenges in the past with changing landscapers, you know, what's been going good and what hasn't. So I agree with you that it hasn't gone the way that it normally has, but that's okay. As a staff member, I am never one to tread on the authority of the board ever. And so this is well within the authority of the board to look at it and say, from a strategic direction, we think it's in the best interest of the district to do X, Y, and Z. And you retain that authority no matter what the RFP is. If it's over $30,000, this board has determined that it becomes a big enough number that it becomes a strategic direction or a strategic decision, not just a staff decision. And so I know it wasn't gone perfectly, but I would say that even though it maybe didn't go the way it normally goes, it doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that it was not appropriate, because it is appropriate for the board to weigh in and ultimately make that decision on these large contracts.
Would you not agree that we are part of the process?
We are part of the process for sure.
So this is the next highest level. This is
Right.
the end of the process.
So I think what I'm hearing, some of the concerns about the irrigation system, that's the potential of causing more of the problems. Because as we talked about, when you look at the outcome of how the cemetery looks, you're really looking at the fertilization, the agriculture, the weather, the seed, and also the irrigation system. All of that's going to affect the outcome. Those are 4 or 5 major factors. And what I'm wondering about is, have we not considered some of those factors correctly related to the RFP and to the outcome of how the cemetery is going to look down the line? So for me, I think we may have missed some components in the past looking at this process as well. That's what I'm thinking at this point, is because I'm thinking, with the irrigation and the fertilization, all of that affects the outcome. I mean, the mowing is the mowing and the cleaning up of the cemetery on certain days like Veterans Day and New Year's Day, like we heard this morning. Those are things that can be worked out. But I'm really concerned about the process, and I know we're part of the process, but I think we did the process wrong somehow, but that's on us too. It's on me.
Bruce, can I make a comment? So, I mean, you're kind of going back and forth, and we'll go circle again. You're questioning the process, but you got our attorney, who I lean on,
Right.
to what's legal and what's not. Was part of the process to guide us through the policy. I am not an attorney. Even if you ask my ex-wife, I am not an attorney. So I feel supported, the fact that our attorney supports the process that we've engaged in. I thank everybody for their time. I said what I had to say the last time. I spoke with you guys as well, and Jonathan a little bit. I'm comfortable with the direction that we've gone. I was the one leery about the bringing up the past and the way we were burnt when we switched landscape companies and what it cost us long term. I would be comfortable moving forward with the recommendation of staff at this point, as long as we still have that 30-day out. Really it.
Yeah, I'll make a comment directly to something that you said. So I acknowledge that the irrigation system is a problem. The challenge with the irrigation system is there's 2 entities involved. One is the landscape company, the other one is the pump company.
Right.
I will tell you very directly that my cemetery pops main lines at a rate that's higher than other cemeteries, and I will get it fixed. If it doesn't get fixed, we'll have new companies. Because the answer isn't to just keep digging up and replacing pipes. Because what's going to happen is when I get my new roads in, and that main line pops and erodes my roads, that's not going to happen. So I'm saying because I've taken it very personally. I will make sure that irrigation system, one way or another, gets managed properly, because you're correct. It hasn't been managed properly in the past, and it's something we need to get fixed.
So who do you think is the root of that problem then?
I'm not an engineer, so it's very difficult for me to determine. But what I can do as a general manager is I can hold to account. So I'm going to put the 2 groups in a room together, and if they can't figure it out, then I'm going to bring in new groups to management, because I can't keep popping main lines like that. Because what's going to happen is one's going to pop under the brand new road, and I'm going to be a very unhappy general manager when that happens.
That happens often?
We pop main lines now, I would say less frequently since we keep the pump running all the time. That was one of the major changes we made. Because when the pump shut off in the morning and then turned back on at night, you had this happening every day. So we keep it on all the time, but we're still popping lines, I would say one every month or two. And that's still too much. Still too much. I think we need pressure release valves and a lot of other things that we just haven't proactively done in the past. And that was part of the conversation I had with Mr. Jackson was we need to shift from reactive management of the cemetery where line breaks, let's go dig it up and fix it, to proactive manage the cemetery where how do we keep this stuff from happening?
So how are we addressing that? Let's say we move forward with retaining the contractor now. How are we gonna address that?
I think we need to put in some pressure release valves. I think that we need to probably.
Well, I'm sorry, Judge.
Do you want me to go into the weeds?
No. I don't mean specific things because I don't know landscape. I mean general performance and accountability. How are we gonna address?
So the accountability has always been built into the agreement because there's always a 30 days out. So it continues to be there. Part of the management of the process is my own evolution and an understanding of the way it works. I'm 5 years on the job, so I continue to learn every year. And, when we made the switch with the original pump not turning off, it made a tremendous difference. But I'm learning that it still isn't performing at perhaps the way that some of my adjacent cemeteries are. And so it's mostly just me trying to hold our contractors to account and make sure that it's getting managed correctly, which I will commit to doing.
So under Exhibit 8 of I think Southwest, page 13, I'm not sure what page of the packet it is. It says SWL Southwest Landscape and CVPCD will jointly develop a monthly KPI form. That KPI form will be used during the monthly inspection of the grounds and signed by representative of both companies. Is that something that's going to be added in the contract?
Yeah, so the new piece of that is the KPI piece. The monthly inspection of the grounds has always happened, but it's been more informal. And so part of the commitment that Southwest has made under the new arrangement is that they would institute key performance indicators, very similar to what I give you all through my GM report specific to landscaping company. And I presume, to help answer your question, those KPIs could be passed along as part of the GM report so that you all are seeing them as well.
Good. So somebody from us is going to review. You guys are going to walk together what you guys have done before, but now it's going to be memorialized in a form.
Correct.
And both people are going to sign off on it.
Correct.
So what happens if we have multiple recurring incidents of noncompliance?
Then it becomes a pain threshold tolerance. How much is the issue worth the other good things that are happening? And when one outweighs the other, then it's time to terminate the service and move on. That I'm just giving you my personal perspective.
Can I ask a question of the contracting?
A question about the contractor?
Of the contract, yeah. Southwest. So along the same lines, I've seen in other contracts before, not ours, but would you guys be agreeable to a performance accountability metric of some sort, where if you guys don't perform for a certain number of time, you guys get a financial penalty?
Sure, absolutely. And we did kind of briefly talk about that, but I think that would be, we'd have to come up with some kind of a rubric on that or a metric to facilitate that, but I have no problems with that. I think speaking specifically about the irrigation, which I know unfortunately Bruce rocked out, but I know that that's an issue that Bruce has brought up. I think we'd also probably need to tie in the pumping, pump company also, because I think that's kind of a threefold situation as far as the pumps. But as far as overall key performance indicators, whether it's markers or mowing or fertilization or any of the other stuff, absolutely not an issue at all.
I'm just trying to address concerns that I've heard from staff about sometimes things don't get corrected right away.
I've also asked Southwest Landscape as part of the new agreement to give a presentation to the board no less than once annually.
Yeah, and I think we'd be fine doing that on a quarterly basis. We don't want to overwhelm, but just to keep everybody abreast of what's going on, and if there's
Yes.
issues, we can address them at that time. It gives easy access to you guys too, where if we're showing up on a quarterly basis.
Yeah, then from legal, it does have the 30-day termination provision for.
Yeah,
any
I was gonna say, I mean, I
They
think
do have
that-
The big night, and for any reasons, you can terminate 30 days notice.
I feel my comments on this, just to finalize, is that's what really gives, I think, the part of that process is, hey, if it doesn't work out, we have 30 days, we walk away. Whatever metrics you set up or not, I mean, that's between you and whoever. And the pain threshold, as you said, is what it is. I mean, once you feel that that's enough, then we move on.
Trustee, are you done with your question?
Oh, yeah, sorry, thank you.
If I may. I'm gonna.
Absolutely, sir.
I think we're, honestly, my personal opinion, my comments are we're being a dead horse in the ground. I think staff has done an excellent job on the reporting, staffing we got here. I see two major factors that we need to consider and start working on. Irrigation system, which we've known for many years, it's under poor quality. It's never been worked on, never been revised. I'm not even sure we have any maps indicating where all the lines are at.
We do.
We do, good, okay. But so we know that that's gonna be another future project, I think, just like the road. We've been working on this for many, many years. So I think that's another major project we need to consider and we need to start working on and, collaborate. What are we gonna do? Second is the pressure relief problem. There's no question about that has to come in. Any good pumping station, tanks or anything, you've gotta have them. I know this from experience because of my background. They're done, if you know.
Oh, yeah,
John.
water.
So there's no
Fire.
question.
The
We
retired
don't have
fire
them. We're just gonna explode to them.
Yeah.
Sorry. So thank you. Those are my comments. We gotta move on.
So John, make a motion then.
I make a motion that we go ahead and approve the agreement as submitted by our general manager for the recommendations, period.
There is no recommendation. Recommendation is that we have discretion, so make a motion of what you
The
want.
motion is to go ahead and
If
proceed
the
with
will of the board is to continue with the current service provided.
Yeah,
then
You have to say that,
you
Carl.
would first reject all bids submitted to the RFP dated November 18th of last year. So there would be a motion to reject all bids.
I'll feel comfortable making that motion if we incorporate that fee base,
Incorporate what?
the
Remediation.
I would keep both items separate
Yeah.
because we have right now under your procurement policy, you have an RFP process. And if we're not going to proceed, which I'm hearing, then we would reject all bids. Additionally, in your procurement policy, you do have exceptions for in the best interest of the district. You could engage, you can engage with Southwest. So I would keep those both separate.
I understand that, but I won't vote yes on the other one if this one doesn't get included, so that's why.
But I would keep them, they're separate
Right.
items. In procurement policy, they're separate items.
Your concern is noted.
Yeah, well, obviously, the comments are that we've heard that they're in the record and the minutes will.
So what was the motion?
I don't know.
So first we need a motion to reject all bids, right? So we can move forward.
Make it.
I just did.
I'll second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
You said no?
I said no.
Okay.
So then, under your procurement policy, now that we've either rejected all bids on RFP, you can award a contract for in the best interest of the district, and we've heard today continuity of service, making sure you have consistency out there, and all those are documented in the record. You could award a contract or direct execute a contract with Southwest, consistent with the revised proposal submitted February 3rd of 2026.
And can I just add, direct the general manager to execute a contract and because I forgot to put it in, the 5% change authority as well. That's typical to our policies.
It's exhibit C.
So I can make that.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
I make a comment.
Well,
I just wanted to clarify, if he needed clarification.
no, we don't.
Okay, no.
We don't. Thank you.
So at which point do I get consensus or not get consensus on what I'm asking for? Now?
Yeah, there's a time for that discussion.
Okay. So I would like to have some sort of stick of performance that
Add that to your motion.
what do you
I
think?
got the direction, yeah.
But we got the stick and then we also got the hammer. I mean, if it doesn't work out, we cut them out in 30 days.
Right, but what I'm trying to address, I'm trying not to, having heard concerns in the past, I'm trying to make sure there's a system, kind of like an employee, right? You do progressive discipline, and then if the worst case scenario, then you terminate them. But
With all due respect to all involved at this point, I mean, we're past that. I mean, if it doesn't work out 30 days, that's it. Just like any other vendor. I mean, I don't think setting up a metric or all that, I mean, I think the like you said, the paying threshold is gonna be up to the general manager and what we deal with. And if it doesn't work, then we have 30 days to walk away and seek other options, which looks like we have plenty.
well, I'll appreciate if you guys support me on that. It sounds like we have agreement from staff and we have agreement from the vendor, so I think it will be.
So could you please
Make the
state your
That's my
motion?
motion.
Could you restate your motion?
Yeah, so
Well,
I,
the hard part, yeah.
the ambiguity makes me uncomfortable, so if I can make a suggestion. So we try to structure these motions where you empower the general manager to execute a contract in the best interest of the district. And I, of course, can say that I will try to hear all the comments and incorporate it as best I can. But the only way you can actually be assured that it meets what you specifically want would be for the board to take ownership of the contract. So if that's what you want, you may want to ask that we bring you back a specific contract for approval instead of empowering the general manager to execute in the best interest.
I feel confident that you can address the spirit of my
And I
request
will.
in the contract, and it sounds like this agreement as well.
Yeah.
So, the KPI form that's signed off monthly, and then it gets into the board, a quarterly, landscape, presentation,
Yeah.
update, and then that some, whatever we're gonna call that.
Yeah.
Performance form or whatever. That's my motion.
I get a second.
That's a big motion, so.
I'll second it.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Support.
Thank you.
So that was 5-0.
Yes.
Thank
Gentlemen.
you all.
Thank you so much
Thank you.
for being here. Thank you for being part of the process. Nothing is permanent ever, in anything. You know, please know that your efforts and your diligence, I know you guys came also may do a walkthrough or something last few. So thank you for that. And for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. Have a great day.
Josh, we'll be with you.
Thank you.
It's probably one of the hardest decisions we've made in a
Well, it's also one of the most important.
few years.
Well, it is what it is. If it doesn't work, then we move on.
Who do I ask for a break? Mr. Chairman,
Next to you.
Let's
break,
do it.
please.
Take a break, please. Thank you.
Okay, do you need to stand up?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Somebody,
Walk.
It says.
somebody needs to,
Typically,
fine. We're back?
Mr. Chair, we have resumed recording.
All right, folks, thank you. Let's get back to the action items, 3.2.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. At the last board meeting, a conversation took place regarding vehicle signage and the proper deployment of signage on vehicles. One of the areas of concern that was discussed was signage on the general manager's vehicle as a way to compromise and allay some of the concerns. The board and the general manager discussed the possibility of taking the general manager to a stipend arrangement as opposed to having a district issued vehicle. The board designated Vice Chair Vossler and Trustee Cornell to meet with the general manager to see if we could develop a proposed transition agreement for the board to consider. The general manager presented the board with information regarding the financial impact to himself if this change was to be made, which served as the basis for the negotiation. The general manager and the committee was able to reach an agreement. Members of the committee are certainly welcome to speak to the agreement for themselves, but as it was recorded, to compensate the general manager for the loss of a district vehicle, the committee is recommending that the general manager be moved to a vehicle stipend in the amount of $500 per month, along with an increase of $1,000 a month to the general manager's monthly salary. This change would be implemented through an amendment to the general manager's current employment agreement, which I have attached as Exhibit B for reference. No other terms or conditions of the agreement would be modified. And then if the board is agreeable to this, they could authorize the board chair to execute it. So with that, I'll allow the committee members to share their insights as well.
I'm good with that.
I'll make a motion that we support the recommendation, and I'll ask for a second so we can have discussion.
Second.
Any discussion?
Move approval.
I have a question. And I wasn't at the meeting. I know generally speaking, $500 is what is given for a car allowance for these kind of positions. I'm honestly concerned about an additional $1,000 for the general manager in this case, just because on principle, because I think it just could have been avoided. I wasn't involved in the discussion. I read the memo, but I'm not against you, Josh. I'm just thinking you're already well paid. To me, another $1,000 a month for a car is, I just feel like it's basically, we're saying we're giving you $1,500 indirectly for a car rather than 500. That's just my opinion. So that's what I wanted to say.
So we started this, we, the board, started
I know.
this. And if we go a different direction, he's financially injured. How would you? We had a long discussion about this, about how to meet the desire of the board and not financially injure Josh. We can easily go back to the way it was. He had a truck paid for by the district with no logo. We can go back there.
Judy, you were in a committee with
Marcos,
Marcos.
and we
So
had a
my
very
assumption is that you
detailed,
guys exhausted this.
yes.
You deliberated, you went over all the pros and cons, and I'm thinking you arrived at a fair and adjustable decision to make it work. So that's my assumption. Am I correct on that one?
We're trying to keep Josh whole.
Well, I understand that because I think we have a darn good city manager. Generally, he went to my past already. But I'm thinking that knowing Marcos, the way he thinks about things, and sometimes he gets into little dark corners he brings out. I'm thinking.
I've never heard of that before.
He got here.
Because knowing him, he explores everything, he kind of analyzes everything, he tears things apart. That both of you putting heads together, this is what you thought would be fair and just for our GM.
Yes, and it was based on a detailed study and report that
So
Josh did.
I support what you guys.
May I make a comment, Mr. Chair? To Trustee Underwood, and what, not to Trustee Underwood, but what he said. I don't know. Sometimes when we give benefits, maybe we don't always have the enough financial analysis as what we should. Sometimes issuing a employee a vehicle is very expensive. Gas, upkeep, insurance. But what the real expense comes in is in liability. It's ironic that this happened this morning, but it did in fact happen. When I was driving this morning, I was coming down this street over here, and as I went, the light turned green, and I went to turn out, and as I was making my turn, a car flew right past me. And this car swerved to miss it and honked it. There's a tremendous amount of liability, and that's very difficult to compute for you or to give you a number. And one of the things that the committee talked about, particularly Trustee Cornell, and I think it's an important point, removing this benefit now and setting the context of we're going to move to an employee stipend or to a car stipend as opposed to issuing a vehicle. It's not just for this general manager, but it's for future general managers. And I really think it's in the best interest of the district to get out of the business of issuing a personal vehicle to an employee. This harkens back to our conversation prior to me getting here about employee housing being issued and the liabilities and the challenges involved in that. So while I understand that the finances of it may not be great to start with, I really do honestly believe that as we manage for generations to come, this will be in the best interest of the district, not just for me, but for future general manager contract. Because what tends to happen is when you bring a new general manager on board, the first thing they're going to do is look at the old general manager's contract
For sure.
and say, we want what he had.
Sure.
So I just wanted to highlight, especially for the benefit of anyone who the community that might be listening, there's benefits that go beyond just immediate move.
Well, you know what? I've been involved in situations like you are referring to. And I think we need to really stop and think out of the box. You know, I don't know how many times I've seen this man either pick up the laundry, the cleaners, whatever you want to call it, where you go. I've seen you there how many times?
Every week.
Yeah, I know. So, I mean, that's
It's cheaper. It saves us money.
I know, but you see, there are certain things that he's doing that we are not aware of. So we cannot hold him, tie him down. We need to have the ability to be able to move forward. And he's right. What we're doing now is going to be for the next GM, maybe in 15 years, because we'll be here that much longer. He's not ready to go anywhere. But we need to think out of the box and say, establish the perimeters now. So,
Marcos, you were a key member of this committee. Do you have something to say?
I think I agree with everybody's comments. I particularly, to be fair, I do agree with you as well. But this is part of my continued commitment to compromise and advance the mission of the district. And the sticking point for me, and I think I made it very clear, is the logo. And the fact of the matter is that any change that we're making would cause an effect on one person. So I think this is a fair compromise for us to do, and I think it advances the bigger picture of the district as well. It wasn't easy. I gotta tell you though, it wasn't easy to get here, right?
2-hour meeting.
But when we are committed to dialogue, then we reach compromises. So I think this is a good compromise.
I can assure you that in negotiations, Trustee Cornell gives as good as he gets.
Before I call for some action, I do want to say I totally disagree with the comment you made, Bruce. I think makes an assumption that that his compensation is overrated or not, or something that he doesn't deserve based on the merits of his work. But the way you said it, I don't agree with. I just want to be clear about that. So you already compensated well enough. I just want you to know I don't agree with that.
Okay.
But I'm not the type of person to call out before, but I will talk to you offline about that later.
Okay, it's not.
Thank you. Can I get some action?
Yes, call for the question.
Can I get some action on 3.2?
Yeah, we have a motion and a
Motion second,
second.
so just a vote.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
if I could, because there was a second part to the recommendation, we would also like to decommission the 2022 Ford Explorer, as I don't think it's necessary to district functions, and it'll save the district money as well with liquidating that vehicle.
Very cool.
If we could get a separate motion for that.
So move to Bill.
We have a motion and a second, and the addition, all in favor?
That's your recommendation, Josh?
Yeah, to liquidate the Ford Explorer, it'll help to recover the costs associated with the transition. And it'll also save us money long-term as well, because really the only people using the vehicle now will be the maintenance team. And then the truck, which does seat 6, is available if anyone has need to go out of town or do something like that.
thanks and insurance.
Are we voting now?
Yeah.
Oh, aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Jeez.
I didn't buy a call.
3.3.
You gotta drive me home now.
So 3.3 is
Hold on,
Oh,
sorry. Carlos, do we have to read aloud the compensation?
No, it's part of the contract there. It's all specified in the document.
Like he's the agency executive though. It's an amendment to his contract, so we don't have to do that.
I mean, you have to approve it at a regular meeting. And the terms of the contract are specifically in the staff report on the compensation. You have to do the regular meeting and you can't have it. You can, but you like it on a regular meeting and the terms of his compensation we're talking about.
All right, so thank you.
So 3.3 authorization to accept anticipated federal funding. I'm going to talk a little bit more than I normally do with this one. There are a lot of unknowns with our federal road funding. We're not exactly sure how it's coming. We're not sure when it's coming. We're not sure what strings are going to be attached to it. We just know it's coming. That's unfortunately part of the process that we went through with appropriations as opposed to a traditional grant program where the restrictions are laid out in advance. You sort of know what they are. In speaking with both our legal team as well as our lobbyists, there is concern that when the information comes, it'll come fast and heavy, and they'll need authorizations, approval. It's been our experience in the past that with this type of money to receive it, you have to have a designated person authorized to receive it on behalf of the district, and then you have to have a help me out, Sherry. Resolution stating that that person has the authority to do it. In a perfect world, this will come through and we'll have more than enough time to bring it to the board and say, hey, here's what's going on. Can we do a resolution? Can we get all that done? I'm concerned about the imperfect world where we don't have that. I already know for a fact that there's a couple meetings coming up where I'll be down at least one trustee. If we were down another one, all of a sudden you get into an area where you may have trouble getting quorum. So what we're recommending is that you authorize the general manager through resolution to accept the funding on behalf of the district only. So there's no authorization here on how to spend it. There's no authorization to accept serious strings that may be attached to it. It's basically just an authorization to accept only. I am very hopeful that we do not need this. That it comes, we can have a board meeting, we can discuss it, we can do all the things that we need to do. This is basically just a safeguard in case it doesn't go that way. I won't be disappointed if you all say no. Let's just wait and we'll do it collectively as a board, just so long as you understand there may be some risk depending on timing and how quickly that they want stuff executed. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions. Unfortunately, there's a lot of unknowns, but I'll answer what I can.
Move approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Information
Yeah.
items?
Thank you. Trustee, are you okay on time still?
Yep.
Okay. 4.1, the annual safety feedback summary. So per California Senate Bill 553, as well as our adopted workplace violence prevention plan, the district is required to do an annual survey of our employees to get their opinions on employee safety and anything pertaining to that from an operational standpoint. We have executed that. We also did our annual employee meeting where we went over workplace violence prevention as well as all of our safety policies. So we're in compliance with SB 553 as well as the district developed policy and our internal procedures. As part of that, we report out to the board what the findings are, which has been included in your report as Exhibit A. It's a consolidation of responses. If you would like the individual responses, I'm more than happy to supply that to you. Basically, the feedback from the employees, nothing shocking there. An acknowledgement of the fact that we work in a high heat condition during the summer, issues with lighting, which of course is inherent to having a cemetery, PPV, some other things, all of it I've taken to heart. What I can address, I will. Some of it I think is just a conversation. Sometimes you have to remind the employees that some of the things that we do are bound by law, not necessarily because we want to do them that way. But I'm happy to answer any questions about the survey or the responses you may have.
So then you didn't get very many negative feedbacks, a lot of major headaches from the employees are comfortable so far with how things are progressing. I know there's a few things we need to work on, and I'm sure that you will be working on those things for safety of the employee. But so far, I guess like, are they, in general, are they okay or are there any major complaints?
I would say that there's nothing that we're not aware of. For instance, our streets have potholes. We're very well aware.
Wow.
The issue with traffic flow through the cemetery, which we're going to be addressing as part of our road repaving project. Safety concerns related to uneven ground, which we're addressing with legal counsel through the ADA review that we did. So I think almost everything that came up, we're already proactively addressing at different various stages, but nothing came through that I was unaware of.
No hidden surprises.
Correct.
Thank you.
Just receive a file, right?
Yes. Yeah. 4.2, Mr. Chair.
Please, quarterly budget review.
And I will turn it over to our finance manager, Sherry Winder, for this report.
Good morning. The quarterly budget review did not reveal any areas that are of concern at this moment in time. We will have some upcoming changes that will need to be made probably at the next quarterly review to the budget. But for right now, everything is well within line. In your packets is the mid-year budget review that gives you the last 6 months plus prior year's information as well. Currently, we're doing very well. We have, I think I'm just going to skip to the end of it. The minimum reserve versus our general fund balance. Last year, we had just over $1 million extra in the general fund, and that was moved over to capital outlay. So this year, we're a little bit closer to where we need to be. We're at just a little over 100,000 extra in that account. And that holds our pre-need revenue, which is about 4 million. And then the operating reserve, which is 25% of our expense budget, and 10% for the rainy day fund of our actual income. So those three numbers together equal what we need to have in our reserve. So we are well above what we need to have.
That's kind of solid.
Yes.
Sherry, how long have you been finance manager now?
For 3 years.
And so based on what you've seen for expenses coming through the district, are we in a healthy position?
We are.
Okay.
Yes.
What percentage of our do we have in reserve? To our
Sorry, I
general
couldn't tell you a percentage off the top. We keep always 35% plus whatever the pre-need is, and the pre-need fluctuates month to month based off of what contracts have come in.
35% of annual budget.
Correct.
And that's more than what's recommended, isn't it?
That's our policy. That's
Yeah.
our reserve policy.
Just
But it is above, yes, it is above a
I think
recommended.
the minimum is what, 10% or something really low.
Yeah.
Very.
as our reserves grow, I'd actually like to see that moved up.
Yeah.
Remember, we can change policy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
maybe we'll bring that up during the May session.
Yeah. But I think Josh started it, but I want to commend you, Sherry, because our budgets have gotten better and better over the time I've been here. And I think this is as good as they've been. And I don't think we've discussed this yet, but we did get the General Finance Officers Association.
Yeah.
Finally.
Yes.
Yes. One of my friends from school is the president of the GFOA this year. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
He's the assistant city manager of Paris.
That's no small achievement.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they're national.
Yeah. I don't know how I think it's like a chamber. I think like they break off into like regional presidents or something like
Okay.
that.
Well, still though, that's good.
Yeah. So congratulations.
But there was a public announcement of the fact that we got the GFOA.
I don't know that we've discussed it here though. That's why.
Okay.
If
Yeah.
we did, I'm
There
sorry.
was a public announcement.
So
Mhm.
But we're always happy to celebrate it a second time.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
It is.
We've been pursuing that for a few years and
I'm not sure it was that one, but there was.
I'll tell you a story once after we leave from
Is that a regular trophy or participation trophy?
You can get it every year, but you have to recertify for it. And those are the GFOA award is hard.
Yes.
I have to give Sherry and her team a lot of credit because that's a hard one to get. You have to meet a lot of requirements, and I know it required a lot of work.
I've
So
been trying that for 3 years.
Thank you, Sherry.
Very well.
Hey, just so you know, I learned because I used the term, but we're not supposed to say participation
Well,
trophy.
you said that last meeting. That's why I
Right.
brought it up.
Well, I've used your term before, so that's
Not the way you talking
Yeah.
about.
Those changes here are just like a tax law. They change every year, get more complicated, don't they?
Yes, they do.
All right, what else you got?
okay, 4.3. So you wanted my team to give more presentations. It's back to Sherry for 4.3.
Thank you. This is a proposed travel request form to assist staff with doing trustee and also staff recommendations for the conferences or events that they would like to attend. This would get filled out with each event that they're requesting staff to either register, do hotel, do any travel. It will give us the dates that are being requested, because we do have occasionally where dates are not matching the conference time frame, and so it makes the staff's time a little bit more efficient to be able to do that right off the bat. And then we have everything all in one spot where we can record the registration numbers and confirmation numbers like that, so for easy access. The one caveat to this form is due to the recent board action, there will be a prior approval required at a regular board meeting if the cost is expected to go over $2,000. So we will need to gather this information from each trustee and then go through and price it out based off of what we're anticipating. And then we'll let them know whether or not it will be able to be approved or if it needs to go to the next board meeting to get approved. So.
Okay. Very nice.
Good job.
So won't there be some standard meetings that we could attend, like CSDA and the Cemetery Association? Because those could be over 2,000, but to me, boards historically that I've been involved, you can go to certain standard meetings without, I mean, I don't know if the 2,000 is going to be a problem or not, but we've already, in a sense, approved because we're going for everything that we need.
It's out of state, no, isn't it?
Well, that's,
Let's say in anything that was over $2,000.
anything over 2,000 could actually be required. And to me, CSDA meetings, Cemetery Association meetings, they should be standard approved with, even if it's over 2,000. But that's my opinion. I don't know how often that happens, but my concern. And is this going to be a PDF that we're going to get?
Yes.
A fillable PDF?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes. Your concerns were actually addressed when the item was initially brought up. And it was discussed at that time that if the board so chose that they could do that at the May planning session to address those specific conferences that could be allowed.
Just to quickly chime in, this document is a great deal of assistance to Sherry.
Sure.
Me and Trustee Cornell had a real life experience with this, checking in at a conference a couple months ago where there was mix up and confusion. So I'm trying to help Sherry, because I know you all are doing your best to communicate to us, but when we get it on a form like this, it's very helpful, helps to cut down on the confusion.
No.
And then I think, yeah, we did talk about it, and I think the CSCA stuff was less than 2,000 on average.
Yeah,
Yeah.
on average it is.
Okay.
Thank you, Sherry. Okay, let's go on to committee updates. Bill?
So we had a meeting yesterday, Marcos and I, with Paula, BB&K, and Carlos, directing the legal counsel to suggest I guess we technically need approval from this board to do that, but we're going to go ahead and approve that we want to annex the properties within our sphere of influence so they actually be within our area. And there's 3 areas that we're going to go for, and the process has started. I think there's some action items that Carlos has in mind, and I think this has been the desire of the board. I don't know if we need a motion for that or not.
I think probably the appropriate, it sounds to me, Carlos, is the committee would be recommending that this be on the next agenda for action.
Yeah, right now for the items of yesterday's, we're gonna do some follow-up, sort of fact gathering to get just so background. Follow up with the last month's attorney on them if they have a master tax sharing agreement to see what that would look like in terms of funding. We're also gonna look at CEQA, to what extent we need to comply with CEQA. We're thinking we don't. We have an exemption. But getting a memo just on the process developed, and then just have the county start looking at meets and bounds. So obviously, any decisions would have to come with the board. We need to take action per resolution, but trying to do some of the groundwork to figure out what that's going to look like. But Just want to talk more about, the broader kind of how we're looking at it. Yeah, would be appropriate with the agenda.
The next agenda, okay.
It was just research based.
Yeah,
There's
there's
no,
at this point, with just the follow bodies were more just. Yeah, we talked about.
We directed them to
Yeah.
do research.
Yeah,
right?
it's
So,
free for-
and look at what the
But
agreement.
at some point,
Would the committee like an item at the next one, or do you want more time?
well, I'm not sure because we're probably gonna meet again in a month. So it's probably gonna drag
We'll
out.
wait to hear from the committee then.
yeah, we're trying to figure out some of what that would look like.
Yeah.
Or given the process itself, do we have to do a negotiated sales tax? We don't quite know that yet, based on what information we received from the county.
So because of the way we structure our agenda, you always have a standing item to report out. Just let us know when you're ready for action.
Yeah.
Or even just have a broader discussion on kind of what we're looking at, correct?
Okay, very cool. Thank you. Get on to our trustee, general manager comments. Trustee Rios?
What?
Any comments on your behalf?
Really. Honestly, I don't have much of anything, no comments or whatsoever. I just honestly say very thank you to the guys, staff here for the well wishes and the support in my little incident. It's going on very good, so no comments. I just thank you all out of my heart. Thank you all.
Very cool. Thank you, trustee Rios. Welcome back. Judy?
Don't have anything to report out other than Marcos and I met with Josh on the car business.
Very nice. Bruce?
Thank you. This past month, I attended a meeting with about the city manager. Indian Wells did a meeting for the city, and I attended that just to network and try to figure out what's going on in Indian Wells, because I don't think we have many people in our cemetery buried from Indian Wells, and just get the information out. I also had a meeting, Marcos and I did with Ken Calvert's liaison, Glenn Miller, to talk about what's going on locally in terms of what we can anticipate. And apparently even Calvert still has some money as well for this next round. And we talked to some about that. I don't know what we're going to pursue. Also, I attended the Riverside County Special District Association meeting, on which Marcos is a member of that board. And then I also attended the Greater Coachella Valley Chamber of Commerce meeting to again network with what's going on in the community. Those are the meetings I had in. And also I'd like to request, given that we're trying to broaden our reach and our depth of, I think we really don't reach Indian Wells and Palm Desert, and there's an Indian Wells chamber that I'd like to have consideration of adoption, and I'm going to need a board member to put that on the agenda for the next board meeting. I'd like to see us consider joining the Indian Wells chamber. It's a small chamber, and it's networked with all the community HOAs in Indian Wells, which are typically those people don't bury within our cemetery, but I think it's something that we should try to pursue and just get the information out, because it's always interesting to me that very few people really even know that the cemetery exists, and they could have a preferred rate for burial at our cemetery.
So joining that chamber is a de minimis expense, and it is within our boundaries. Unless there's strong opposition from the board, I'll just have us join. It's a couple $100 a year.
Yeah, I thought it had dissolved, but yeah.
No, it hasn't dissolved. There's still, is it as active as it should be? No, but I think I think we need to make as many contacts as we can and again, it's a small expense.
I can take care of that, Bruce.
Okay.
Very cool. Thank you, Bruce. Trustee Cornell?
Yeah, it's all the stuff that I did with Bruce, and then we did
You made him do all the work.
No, He does all the work.
We did a CSDA invited us to do an interview for what was it? Kind of like the district's evolution and pursuit of
The District of Distinction.
yeah.
So we actually had an interview yesterday with the communication specialist for CSDA, and she's going to write an article about how we have pursued the District of Distinction and how we developed that through this board over the years. So Marcos and I had an interview with her in addition to our meeting, which is really next month, the meeting that we had with the month of February, the meeting that we had with Carlos about LAFCO.
Yeah, it was the same day.
So we had Marcos and I had 2 meetings yesterday together.
But it was I thought it was a good interview. I hope they write it a certain way because we talked about the evolution of how we've gotten there, what it's meant for our district, or at least what our perspective is of what it's meant for our district. Give credit to Josh and Ernesto advancing sort of our vision and mission to CAPC as well. The chamber with Judy and how we've gotten more involved over the years in that perspective.
And quickly, I just want to clarify so that there's no policy confusion. This was an instance of someone reaching out directly to
me.
you all.
Well, they reached out to my brother thinking it was me, but yes.
So I just don't want you all to think it came through the district.
Yeah,
If it comes through the district, then it's Ernesto and I, but in this case, they
Yeah.
reached out specifically to Trustee Burnett.
Yeah, so one of the things I highlighted is it's obviously that that our jobs here, I think Ernesto said it well earlier today, are despite policy differences, is we all share a vision and care for the district, and how staff, as we did it backwards, right? How staff has joined that vision as opposed to, I guess she was saying that they had issues with districts where board members don't want to do it, but staff are asking them to do it. So we share some of our perspectives. So hopefully they write that. Talking about CSDA magazine, we also, I told you, we also, Josh and I made the CSDA magazine this last issue. I don't know if you guys have read it. And it was about our leadership presentation that we did.
I haven't even read it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, neat article.
With Scott.
With Scott. So you got quoted, I got quoted. And of course, my quote was setting the standard and not lowering it, but helping people help the agency elevate to that. So that was that one. What else did we do? I think that's it. But as I don't know where it fits in your schedule, but I do want to bring up a couple things. I've been extremely supportive of staff from day one, 10 years ago, and I want to take the next step in supporting them in their education, those that want to pursue it. So sooner rather than later, I would like us to implement our actual education support policy and start allocating some money towards that.
We have a policy in place. I think you want to broaden the definition of who's eligible.
Right. I want to make it to all employees for technical, whatever.
Is it the wish of the board to place that on a future agenda?
I agree.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. And then the other request, I had mentioned it to you, Josh, but this is the proper forum to do it. An item on the agenda of sorts that talks about future agenda development. What's coming, the agenda, so that way we can say no, we don't want that, or we need to speed that up, or whatever. So that way we're all informed. There's examples out there. DRD is doing it. Palm Springs does a very good job at it. The last thing, kudos to Indian Wells. In their last council meeting, I think it was, they have no debt. They have like $100 million cash. All their roads are like spotless.
No pension liability.
No pension liability.
I think the road score is like 85.
Well,
Anyway.
But we have examples out there of
Right.
good governance, and that city council is extremely engaged. So kudos to them.
Please remind me moving
That's all I have.
forward.
Thank you.
Very cool.
So
Trust myself.
we need
being
an
able to-
agenda item for that,
For which one?
your last one,
What was it? I'm sorry.
related to agenda development.
So right now, we develop the agenda development as part of the annual scope of work. And then once the scope of work is adopted, that becomes the foundation for the agenda items moving forward. That's done on an annual basis. And then if there wants to be an amendment to it, it's done as we just did it, where you say we want to add it. So you're asking specifically that that be changed.
No, what I'm asking for is some sort of report out, document that says, in the 3 meetings from now, we're likely gonna be talking about road development or mid-year budget.
So are you familiar with the Excel spreadsheet that has all our projects on it?
Right.
The one that I just mentioned to Sherry, I failed to provide you 2 meetings in a row, which she won't let happen again. If I started putting projected discussion on the column, like anticipate that this will be on the December, would that meet your needs?
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think I can meet it using that document.
Yep.
And it will not be missed again. I apologize.
Didn't notice.
Very cool. Thank you. I don't have anything to report. The only thing was that Congressman Reed called me, I don't know if it was Saturday or Sunday, just to tell us about the signing. And to let everybody know. We be getting a phone call or address. I did let you know. And he was very, really good mood. Just happy that the money's came through and
Good.
a little bit of conversation was that.
Go.
Yes.
So I'll be quick. The GM report this month was quite lengthy. There's a lot going on at the district. I won't reiterate everything that's in the report. Just some real quick highlights though. Let's see here. So the funeral home online scheduling portal is now live. So the funeral homes no longer have to call staff to make an appointment. They can actually go in and see what's available and book it online, which is a tremendous efficiency gain for both us and them. Kudos to Sherry for her hard work on that and bringing that to fruition. I think that that's going to be really a good thing. Also, I just want to highlight, we'll be going in kind of 2 different directions as the team coming up. Unfortunately, the SDRMA Safety Day is the day before the Cemetery Association meeting. So I will be going to the SDRMA meeting. We're going to be receiving our Safety Innovation Award at that meeting. Sherry is going to the Cemetery Association. I think some of you are going to that as well, but I did want to let you know that unfortunately those things are back to back, so we won't be able to go to both of them. There are a couple of agenda items that will be coming up for the next month. There is a CSDA board seat and a SDRMA board seat that are both under consideration currently. They're not due back until April, so we'll have that on the March agenda for the board to consider what you all want to do with that. Also too, on the next agenda, based on public comment, I'm going to bring an item forward for the board to consider to potentially do a community feedback forum in the evening. And we don't have to do them often, but if we did one, I think it might be a good idea to give folks a chance to come and sort of express, what might be on their mind based on some of the feedback we've gotten. So that's all I have. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm happy to answer any questions about the GM report.
So also we need to have on agenda soon a decision about who we're going to vote for LAFCO for the Western region, those 7 candidates. That needs to be backed by April 9th. So we really need it on the next agenda.
Yeah, you know what? I said SDRMA and I think it's LAFCO. I
Okay.
misspoke.
We get to vote?
I'm sorry.
So actually we either need a resolution to have somebody vote, one of our board members vote, or designate Josh to vote, or
No, but
the way it's written.
But we get to vote
We
on the
get to
west
vote
side?
on the Western, yes, we do.
I don't believe we got to nominate, but we get to vote.
Right, you can't
Correct.
nominate anybody for that, but we can.
I said SDRMA, Bruce, it's LAFCO.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that LAFCO was on that agenda.
Sorry.
Also, given what's gone on in the last month, I really want us to think about somehow I know you're going to consider it, but I think we as a board need to think about the irrigation system. And I think, and again, I don't know when we're going to put it on for dealing with our pension liability, but again, that's one of my concerns. I think we need to deal with that. I'm not sure which to.
That's codified in policy. That'll be discussed at the May planning session.
I'm always concerned that we have so much on the May planning meeting and so many of us only spend maybe 3 hours and we really don't get to dig in the way we should. And I know that's just my concern. But I don't know how, and we've talked about how do we deal with that issue. So I'm concerned because those are some big issues coming forward. Also, the planning of the road related to the irrigation and the popping of valves. I think I just want to make sure that we don't have any problems with the road after we fix it.
Sure.
Anyway, those are some things that are on my agenda. So anyway.
I wanna, sorry, can I?
Yeah, please do.
I wanna, I always like when we get public comments, and I always enjoy when people come up and speak to us. And I also want people to know, at least this board member, and I'm pretty sure I'm speaking for all of us, know that our employees across the board, regardless of where they're at, care about the people in our district. And they are compassionate and they are loving and they take good care of the public. So I don't want anybody to think that anybody here doesn't think that. So we do ask our employees to enforce policies that we approve, and that's if there's any disagreement with that, that needs to come towards us, not towards the employees.
I would just also add to that because it may not be stated enough. The majority of our board has loved ones buried at the cemetery. So I think that's important to
It's
state.
all of us, yeah.
I don't.
Oh, you don't?
You live in Indian Wells, they don't need their secretary. I wanted to make,
I'm a newbie.
on the ownership affidavit that you presented,
Yes.
that is really solid. I especially like number 6. And I'll read that just because it just liability in cemeteries is huge. That I understand and acknowledge that pursuant to the health code, the cemetery districts or an employee, agent, or trustee of the district shall not be liable for any claims, losses, or damages asserted in action unless the district had actual knowledge of the facts. So this is really solid.
Yeah, that actually came out of the Noble headstone request.
That's our favorite.
Yeah, that's what prompted that. And so we began to work with legal counsel to make sure that we could address that in a more efficient way.
Well done. I like it.
What was that? Is that like a new form?
It's on the back of his report.
Oh, okay.
And we're in the process of getting staff notary so that we can actually notary in the office. And that way we don't have to put the burden on the public to go out and do it.
Are we gonna give them a percentage typing?
I was gonna get them a stamp.
I'd like to get them certification to pay for additional duties.
That so we can probably agendize that along with the education.
Anybody want to support that discussion?
I would support that discussion.
Okay,
Thank you.
and thank you for the compliment, Mr.
Very
Chair.
cool. No, thank you guys for your work.
Mr. Chair, just one final
Yes, sir.
comment from me.
Final, like you're never gonna say anything again?
Not for the rest of the day. I gotta say, the comments the young lady made, I gotta tell you guys, I've known her for many, many years, but I've also known her to be high strung and very outspoken.
It's okay.
But I gotta say, in defense of our office staff, take pride in their work. They're courteous. They have never been disrespectful with anyone. Cause I would get calls and I never got a call. And in regard to our staff outside, that's the same thing. They've always been accommodating. I mean, even when we have major events, they go out of their way to assist. So, sometimes if you don't visit on a regular basis, your loved one's a cemetery, then you really don't know what the heck is going on. You know, and if there are changes made, you don't know what's going on. You know, when we changed our hours of visitation, that's for a reason.
Sure.
So, but anyway, just my comments, I think we need to
No.
be respectful of the public, that's okay. But I also gotta show pride in our staff, they do a fabulous job, thank you.
Thank you for defending our staff. Duly noted, but also you have to remember that, and staff knows this because they're professionals. They truly are, like everybody else in the cemetery.
Yeah.
What happens, you know, we're dealing with people that are obviously at an incredibly emotional stage.
Mhm.
And I always tell people in the funeral homes that I consult with and some other cemeteries, like, trust me, the person that's complaining about is having a way worse day than you are behind that desk.
Yep.
They just went through a loss, they're going through an emotional situation. Give them a little bit of space. All right, where we at?
I would like to be excused from the meeting.
Do we have closed session?
We do.
It's gonna take a little bit, right?
It's mostly will be updates as long as there's not a lot of questions. I've drafted memos, so it shouldn't be too long.
Okay, all right.
Then let's go ahead and wrap up the open session and we're gonna go into closed session.
Mr. Chair, recording has resumed. We've resumed the meeting at 10:47 a.m.
10:45, actually.
Oh, 10:45, sorry. Apologies, 10:45 a.m.
Carlos?
Yes, board been in closed session, received direction, but we have more reportable actions.
Thank you, everybody, for your time. Have a great rest of the month.
It's a short month.